Radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network.
I need your help to get to the year 1985. You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening, Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah, man, how you doing? How you doing? Today's Monday, July 11th, 2022. Tonight, it's all about time travel. Let's do this. I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer, and UNX Networks. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? Kicking off another great week here on Fade to Black. Starting it off tonight when we welcome very special guest, me. That's right. I'm doing it again tonight. I'm enjoying these Monday nights, getting my brain released. I'm going to do that tonight on time travel. We're doing All Secrets Week this week. Tonight, it is the Secrets of Time Travel. Tomorrow night, Scott Walter is here for Secret America. And then Wednesday night, it's the return of Kelly Sullivan Walden. She's with us for The Secrets of Dreams. And then Thursday, well, it's another Fader night with open lines all night long. So what a great week. This weekend, I mean, I just came off the most amazing weekend I've had in a long time. And I very rarely have, just time to do stuff. But I got a lot of things done, and I've got some pretty big announcements coming up starting tonight. I'm going to start announcing these things. But I went to go see Patti LaBelle. And Patti LaBelle, I went Saturday night with some friends, a group of friends. And Patti LaBelle played literally across the street from my house, a couple blocks up the road, across the street. It's right there is an outdoor amphitheater. It's really nice. And I've heard stuff going on over there. I've seen, but I've never been there. And I got to go see Patti LaBelle. It was amazing. I did some live streams on Facebook. You guys can go and check that out. But I've never had like something like that in my life. All the places that I've lived in and things, to have that happen in your neighborhood, it was just incredible. There was, I don't know, there was somewhere between 10 and 20,000 people there. Everybody having a good time. It was a great concert. So I did that on Saturday, and then we came back to my house after that and did some sky watching till the wee hours of the morning. So it was a lot of fun. And I got to say, Patti LaBelle, man. And if you haven't seen the live stream that I did, her voice, I mean, she looks great, by the way. But her voice sounds exactly like it always has. Man, it was just incredible. So anyway, that was Saturday. Now, coming up next month, I've got a couple of things that I'm doing. I'm shooting a new film. So that's going to occupy a couple of weekends. And then coming up, this is coming up very quickly in about a month. I'll be on Tuesday night, August 16th. I'll be at UPARS here in Los Angeles. I talked to Steve Murillo about this last week on the show, kickstarting UPARS again after the pandemic. 2 years off. UPARS is back in Studio City. And yes, I'll be speaking. Come on out. And I'll post information for everybody if you would like to attend, where you can get tickets and how you do all of that. It's going to sell out. And I'm going to have a bunch of friends there with me on stage. So I'm going to be speaking, but I want to do a little bit of Fade to Black too as well. So we're going to do that. And also we're going to broadcast live. So even though that's a Tuesday night, Fade to Black's still going to happen. It's just going to happen live from UPARS. It's going to be really, really cool. So that is going down again, Tuesday night, August 16th. And I will get all the information up for everybody. There's Steve told me over the weekend, dude, the RSVPs are flooding in. And I said, just calm down. It's going to be great. Don't worry about it, man. But it's going to be packed. It's going to sell. Yes, it is. What do you expect after 2 years? It's going to be awesome. So if you're in or around Los Angeles, you're definitely going to want to be there for this Tuesday night, August 16th. All right. Now, also get your free membership right now to the UNX Network. I want you to go to the unxnetwork.com. The links are below. And you will receive their monthly newsletter. You're going to get blog access. You're going to get event notices. And you're also going to get a free digital copy of their quarterly magazine. Check everything out right now at unxnetwork.com. Not only that, you can go right now, get your free membership, because this month's issue of UNX is all about time travel. Coincidence? You got to love the universe. So go and get your free membership to the UNX Network right now. Click on the link below. Now, also, right now, Eden Pure is having their Thunderstorm BOGO special for the next week starting today. That is buy one, get one free. The link is below. For the Thunderstorm, buy one, get one free right now. The promo code is Fader BOGO. This is only a 1 week deal. Right now, you know I love my Thunderstorm. Oh, man. Promo code is Fader BOGO. We've got links up throughout social media, and you can certainly click on the link below in the video description box. Head over to Twitter, Facebook, wherever you want to go. And we've got links right there also over at jimmychurchradio.com. You can follow me on Twitter at jchurchradio. I'm in a great mood. Why am I in a great mood? Because today I'm wearing my Big Kahuna Burger t-shirt. Yep, Pulp Fiction. Got the red trim, just like the movie. Got me a Big Kahuna Burger t-shirt. That's right. It's pretty cool. Follow me on Twitter at jchurchradio. This is what I should do for Instagram. Should do the I got the funky shorts on tonight. I am totally playing out that scene from Pulp Fiction tonight on the show. Got my Big Kahuna Burger shirt on. And there you go. Man, I'm sore. I've worked out all weekend. Oh, man, 5 straight days of just pumping iron. Gee whiz, man. But I'm on a mission. I'm going to transform. Yeah. I need to take like pictures every single day standing in front of a mirror. Right? Like that. And see what that looks like. All right. Olivia says she made it. Good for you. 9 seconds ago on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter at jchurchradio, and then head over to hashtag F2B, the Sandbox on Twitter, the funnest place to hang out every single night with all the other Fadernauts. All right, let's get to the breaking news. You heard everything as it went down. Twitter says its $44 billion sale to Elon Musk is still on, and it will go to court to make it happen despite Elon's declaration, he's breaking it off. He's walking. And his series of tweets of him laughing at Twitter, it's so weird. They didn't want him. Now they're going to force the sale when they didn't want it. It's Twitter said today, and I quote, Twitter reserves all contractual, legal, and other rights, including its right to specifically enforce the Musk parties. That's right. All of their obligations under the agreement, end quote. Man, this is a tasty burger. You guys are funny. I got it, man. I got me the big kahuna. Look, there it is. All right. Well, now check this out. I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but this is what's happening. A raft of thin film silicon bubbles deployed from Earth into outer space and stretching to the size of Brazil could potentially block the sun's solar radiation from further warming Earth, possibly helping to not only stave off climate change, but potentially reverse it. This new space bubbles plan, offered by scientists at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, is a concept first offered by astronomer Roger Angel. The team of architects, civil and mechanical engineers, physicists, and material scientists have worked on the technical and social aspects of what the group calls, quote, a planetary scale project, end quote, in an effort to find a non-Earth-bound solution to climate change. Silicon bubbles in space. It's a B movie from 1955. All right, well, it went down today. Mind-blowingly incredible. All happened with President Biden, by the way. The James Webb Space Telescope may be getting most of the attention this summer, but check this out. I'm going to get to Hubble's recent, newest, first image in just a second, because next year, NASA's Astrophysics Stratospheric Telescope for high spectral resolution observations at the sub-millimeter wavelengths, or ASTROS instrument, is going to launch. ASTROS is not a space telescope or a ground-based telescope. It's something in between, hovering the stratosphere. NASA intends to fly the instrument to an altitude of 130,000 feet via a balloon that will be larger than a football field, deploying it over Antarctica. That's right. They're going to do this for 4 weeks at a time. The benefit of flying the telescope at that altitude in Antarctica dramatically reduces interference by Earth's atmosphere, an aspect that is crucial to the ASTROS mission. The telescope will study an unusual phenomenon called stellar feedback, a process by which living stars and dying ones stir up the clouds of gas and dust around them over Antarctica. Well, it went down today. I didn't know if I was going to share this, but it's pretty interesting. That's because a prominent Russian politician has threatened to use force to take back Alaska. That's right. Prominent ally of Russian President Vladimir Putin and member of Russia's legislature threatened last week to invade Alaska and reclaim the former Russian territory. That's right. Vyacheslav Volodin said Russia would take back Alaska, using the same language that Putin used to describe his invasion of Ukraine. That ain't going to happen. The identity of an unknown god described in inscriptions from the ancient city of Palmyra, located in modern-day Syria, has long baffled scientists, but now new research declares that they have cracked the case. Palmyra flourished around 2,000 years ago as a center of trade that connected the Roman Empire with Asia. The anonymous deity is mentioned in numerous Aramaic inscriptions at Palmyra and is referred to as he whose name is blessed forever and the Lord of the universe. That's right. All of this according to Science in Poland, a news site run by the Polish government and independent journalists. Many of these inscriptions date back 2,000 years ago. Now, scientists from the University of Makła in Poland revealed that the anonymous god mentioned in the inscriptions is not a single god, but rather multiple deities that include Bel Marduk and Baal Shaman. They also contend that people did not mention the name of these deities out of a sign of respect. There you go. The first image, it went down today, again with President Biden. The first image from NASA's James Webb Space Telescope was released today. I'm very rarely blown away, but listen to this. It's the deepest and sharpest infrared image of the distant universe to date. Known as Webb's first deep field, this image of galaxy cluster SMACS 0723 is insane. Thousands of galaxies, and this slice of the vast universe covers a patch of sky approximately the size of a grain of sand held at arm's length. That's right. I talk about this all the time. I would go out to conferences and I would thousands of people in front of me and I would go, hey, man, give me a dime. Somebody in the front row, and they give me a dime and I go, man, hold up this dime to the sky. Pick a blank spot out and you are looking at 150,000 galaxies. And everybody go, ooh, is that true? Is that really true? Now it's down to a grain of sand. It's like they stole my idea. But anyway, so now I've got to change my presentations. I'm going to do it. I'm going to bring out a little baggie of sand. I'm going to sprinkle it out of my hand. I'm going to take out a little grain of sand. I'm going to hold that up and repeat the same thing because that's what is going down. This deep field taken by Webb's near-infrared camera, NIRCam, is a composite made from images at different wavelengths, totaling 12.5 hours. That's how long it took to expose, just 12 and a half hours. As you remember, and I've done presentations on this show many times, Hubble's Space Telescope's deepest field images that I've shown you many times took 2 weeks to expose. This is incredible. 12 and a half hours. The image shows the galaxy cluster of SMACS 0723 as it appeared 4.5 billion years ago. Webb's NIRCam has brought those distant galaxies into sharp focus. They have tiny, faint structures that have never been seen before, including star clusters. Most of these galaxies in the image released today have never been seen before. This image is among the telescope's first full-color images. The full suite will be released tomorrow, July 12th, beginning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time during a live NASA TV broadcast. It's going to last all day. That's part one. It's going to spill over to Wednesday, July 13th. This is absolutely incredible. This is a game changer. Let's get this show cracking. On this day in history, OTD 1979, parts of Skylab, America's first space station, come crashing down on Australia and into the Indian Ocean 5 years after the last manned Skylab mission ended. No one was injured. All right, here's your fader fact. This is a good one. Before he was the best-selling author of the Da Vinci Code, Dan Brown thought he was a musician. That's right. In 1994, he released an album called Angels and Demons. I'm not making this up. Well, that didn't work out. So He wrote the book, Angel and Demons. Yeah, like 2 years later. And then in 2003, published another book called The Da Vinci Code. And that is your Fader Fact. Tonight, we welcome very special guest, me. That's right. I'm going to be discussing the secrets of time travel. 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours. I've got over 50 images, and I'm letting my brain loose tonight. Tomorrow night, Scott Wolter is here for the Secrets of America. Wednesday night, Kelly Sullivan Walden returns. She's going to be with us to talk about the secrets of dreams. Man, I cannot wait. She just texted me right now. I can't wait for Wednesday, man. It's going to be so great. It is. Kelly is here Wednesday night. Thursday is another Fader night with open lines all night long. And right now, you're probably wondering what I'm doing. Nothing that top secret. I'm turning my thermostat on. Yeah. That's my top secret text that I'm doing right now. All right. Now it's time for me to hit this River Moon coffee. rivermoonwellness.com. Oh, man. Woo! Fade to black blend. I like my coffee dark. I do. I like it. Will the thunderstorm work in my truck? That's from Deuce Diaz. It will. That's a text that just came in a few minutes ago. Yes, Deuce. It's USB. Man, that's a nice truck. Look at that tractor trailer. Man, I love truckers. Man, I love every truck. Everyone listening to this show while they're driving going, oh, I could time travel. Get my truck there sooner. I know what you're saying. Make this delivery. I hear you. All right. Sarah Ann tweeting out too as well. All right. Everybody is in Tasty Burger. What do you guys do? Big Kahuna. Is that right? You can actually eat a Big Kahuna burger. Had me one when I was in Imperial Beach, San Diego, and in Mexico. Oh, okay. All right. I didn't know that. All right. Tonight, we welcome very special guest, me. I am going to be discussing the secrets of time travel. And tomorrow night, Scott Wolter is here. And then Wednesday night, Kelly Sullivan Walden. But tonight, it's about time travel. And I know a lot of you think, and so do I at times, that time travel, it's my favorite subject. But nah. It's a 6, 7, 8-way tie. Because we've got Egypt, right? We've got UFOs, right? Göbekli Tepe, right? Of course. We've got ghosts. We've got the supernatural. We've got the paranormal. We've got physics. We've got space. Everything's just equal to me. And then we've got time travel. It's just where my head is that week. Right, that month. And I am going through these cycles, and you've seen me do this now for years, where I do these cycles of research. And when I'm in the middle of research, I'm like, man, that would be a good guess this week. Let's reach out to so-and-so. You can see where my head is at. And lately, over the last couple of months, I've been talking about time travel. I've been talking about time travel a lot. And I've been doing a lot of research. And when you go and do the research that I do, and there are, the researchers and authors and personalities inside of our community, and I do that. But I also like to go outside of our community. What is science saying? And what has been said about it in the past? What about the ancient past? And I do those deep dives. And over the years, I have thought about every angle of time travel, every single one. And it goes back to when I was 18, 19 years old. I wrote, I'll call it a short story. It was longer than a short story, but it wasn't quite a book. It was like in between. But I wrote a story about time travel while I was at Bell Laboratories. And it's weird because even though I kind of knew back then, it's 50 years ago, I kind of knew a little bit about paradoxes and things, but it wasn't, that stuff didn't really enter my mind. But what I ended up writing was a friggin' paradox. And that I was in a loop had nothing to do with a paradox. It was that the story itself, as I wrote itself into a paradox. And I have been on this ever since. So tonight we are going to go through it all. I am going to start in deep history, and I'm going to go through it. And I've got it broken down into 5 different groups. We have 5 segments on the show. So I've got it broken down. And I also want to talk about time travel movies. So I've got that too as well tonight. So we're going to go through all of that like everything else, like it's going to be probably on Monday nights for a while. Take notes. And hopefully I will be sharing what I have learned over the years with you. And tonight you're going to learn something. And that's the goal. So tonight it is time travel. Tomorrow night, Scott Wolter's here, The Secrets of America, and much more. He just got back from another research trip. So we'll be discussing that tomorrow night as well. Wednesday night, Kelly Sullivan Walden is back, and she just got back from a trip. And she's going to be with us Wednesday night for The Secrets of Dreams. Thursday night is another Fader night with open lines all night long. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer and UNX Networks, Raise Hobbs. Tonight is time travel right after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the X.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net.
When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Right now, Eden Pier is having their famous BOGO deal on Thunderstorm air purifiers. One listener wrote, "It makes a huge difference in our cat litter box stink. I just wish I waited for the BOGO deal. I need another one." Well, now's the time. BOGO is back, so when you buy one Thunderstorm, you get one free. No matter how many you buy 2, you get 2 free. You buy 5, you get 5 free. The thunderstorm will completely eliminate any odor, even the worst like pets, cigarette smoke, urine, and cooking. Now is the time to order. Eden Pure's buy one, get one free sale is 1 week only. With over 265,000 thunderstorms sold and countless 5-star reviews, you know it works. People are buying several for around the home and even as gifts. Just go to EdenPureDeals.com and use discount code FADERBOGO. That's FADERBOGO, FADERBOGO. BOGO is buy one, get one free. That's EdenPureDeals.com, discount code FADERBOGO. And as always, shipping is free.
Do you have an interest in the paranormal? Then you'll love the UNXNetwork.com. The X is your streaming audio and video for everything supernatural, strange, and mysterious, like UFOs, Bigfoot, ghosts, and so much more. From hosts like Jimmy Church, Whitley Strieber, Micah Hanks, and Christina Gomez. Visit the UNXNetwork.com show page for a complete list of all the paranormal programs you'll find on the X. Be sure to follow us on Twitter for updates at KUNXDB. Follow our Facebook group, UNX Network. Find the podcast on Spotify, iHeart, Audible, and Apple Podcast. It's time. It's new. It's the X.
Right now, the world couldn't be more chaotic. History shows us what gold does when the world goes crazy. It goes up in value. Right now, we're in unprecedented times. Pandemic, the war in Ukraine, the devaluation of the U.S. dollar. Gold and other precious metals are a defense measure against the hyperinflation that's happening right now. So, what can you do to protect yourself? Call my friend Alan Johnson at United Gold Group. He's dedicated to helping people secure their retirement income. He'll help you with gold, with silver, and other precious metals, and show you how to set up your own self-directed IRA. Safe and secure, United Gold Group makes gold ownership easy and affordable. There couldn't be a better time, so call now and get a silver American Eagle proof set with a qualified IRA. Call 800-753-8534. That's 800-753-8534 or visit UnitedGoldGroup.com. Reach out to my friend, Alan Johnson.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight is me. We are doing the secrets of time travel tonight. There's a lot to discuss. And I think I've got a pretty good presentation put together. And the thing is about time travel, it's so complex. It's so deep, and there's so many theories and ideas out there. A show like this tonight, even though it's going to be a full 2.5 hours, it's just going to scratch the surface. And I can see a part 2 coming up where we can take any one of the subjects tonight that I am going to discuss and expand that out into 2.5 hours. Because one thing is for sure, time travel is one of the most fun, one of the most crazy, and one of the most romantic ideas that we can have, right? What if we could time travel? What if we could go back and fix something? You know, a relationship that went wrong, your grades in school. Maybe you would have actually gone to college, right? You know, your job, your career, you know, and go back. It is, again, it's just a romantic, warm thought to be able to go back and do these things. Now, In some instances, a lot of us think that this is a modern concept, that this is a technological thing, right? No. Time travel has been discussed for thousands of years, right? Or maybe it would be to go to the future, right? To see where things end up with you, or maybe into the far and distant future, thousands of years, to see where humanity is and Earth and all of that, and what technology is going to be like then. All of these ideas are there. And I get it. And I do it too. I have thought about it. I have discussed this on the show. What if I went back in time and left a cassette of Van Halen 2, right, on my nightstand in 1977, or Yngwie Malmsteen's Rising Force, right? David Lee Roth's Eat 'Em and Smile with Steve Vai. And, what if I put that on my nightstand? What would have happened to me as a guitar player? And I've thought about these things, and I've discussed them, and all of this you've thought about too. But it's not modern. It's not. It goes back thousands and thousands of years. Some ancient myths depict a character skipping forward in time. Some go back. In Hindu mythology, the Vishnu Purana mentions the story of King Kakmudi, who travels to heaven to meet the creator of Brahma, and is surprised to learn that when he returns to Earth, that many ages have passed. The Buddhist canon mentions the relativity of time. The Payasi Sutta tells one of the Buddha's chief disciples, his name is Kumara Kassapa, who explains to the skeptic Payasi that time in the heavens passes differently than on Earth. And then we have the Japanese tale of the Urashima Taro. And that right there is time travel. That's the universe reaching out to me going, this is important. Now you must sneeze. Stay focused. Now, the Urashima Taro, which tells of a young fisherman who visits an undersea palace. I've discussed this before on the show. After 3 days, he returns to his home village and finds himself 300 years in the future, where he has been forgotten. Another sneeze is coming. His house is in ruins. His family has died. In the Jewish tradition, a 1st century BC scholar, 100 BC, is said to have fallen asleep and slept for 70 years. When waking up, he returned home, but found none of the people that he knew, that he grew up with. And no one believed his claims of who he was. Now, today, there are hundreds of versions of time travel. But we can break everything down pretty much into 3 basic themes. We have first, the time traveler who takes hold of a special device or steps into a machine and suddenly disappears, then appears at an earlier or later time. The time traveler experiences no lapse of time between the departure and the arrival. From their point of view, they instantaneously appear at the destination time. So that's kind of like the first version. And I've compiled, 50 versions of time travel into that, but you get what I'm saying. And then we have the time traveler who steps into an ordinary rocket ship, flies off, on a course, takes off in a direction. And at no point do they disappear. They don't disappear. They're always there. Yet, thanks to the overall structure of space-time as conceived in the general theory of relativity, The traveler arrives at a point in the past or the future, somewhere out there in space, right? Okay. Then we have Einstein, where the time traveler steps into another ordinary rocket, right? Some kind of interstellar spacecraft, flies off at high speed, trying to get to the speed of light, right? On a round trip. When they return back to Earth, thanks to certain, effects predicted in special theory of relativity, only a small amount of time has elapsed on the spaceship, right? For them. But they get back here, they've only aged a few months, but hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years have passed here on Earth since their time of departure, and everything has changed. Everybody has died. And that's another aspect of time travel. Do you really want to do something like that, knowing it's a one-way trip, that when you return, your friends, your family, everything that you knew, they're all dead. They're gone. And it's like taking a one-way trip to Mars. Are you willing to do that? That's an aspect of time travel that isn't discussed much, but there's an entire philosophical side to time travel that we will also get into tonight. Now, early science fiction stories, which kind of came next, after all of the deep religious writings from thousands of years ago. You have these science fiction stories that started to surface, featuring characters who sleep for years and awaken in a changed society, or are transported to the past through supernatural means. Among them were different books like The Year 2440, A Dream If Ever There Was One, but that was published in 1770 by Mercier. Then you have Rip Van Winkle, right? That was written in 1819 by Washington Irving. And you've got Looking Backward, published in 1888 by Edward Bellamy. All of these fantastic time travel books. But then, for me, it starts with The Time Machine. H.G. Wells. This book was written in 1895. Absolutely incredible. 1895. And we have the time machine as depicted in the book. This is from the movie in 1960. And many models of this, you can go out and build your own model. I haven't done it yet, but I think I'm heading in that direction here pretty soon. Where you've got a couple of levers, right? You're pulling it down. You choose your date, right? That magnetic wheel thing in the background starts spinning. And the next thing you know, you've gone back in time or into the distant future. H.G. Wells changed things, but let's remember that was 1895. And then, of course, we have Mark Twain. That's right. A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court. That was written in 1889. Both of these books at that time caused people to think. And really, we were in the middle of a technical revolution. We were in the middle of the industrial age. Electricity was here. We had the telegraph. We had Thomas Edison and the telephone and Graham Bell and the recording of the voice for the first time. All of this was going down, and the introduction of things like this, where time travel is possible, really caused people to think. But this wasn't where it started. Started with Plato. Around 400 BC, Plato wrote about societies whose time ran backwards. Now, I want you to think about this for a second. 400 BC, Plato, a historian and a philosopher, wrote about his experiences and what he had learned from societies whose time ran backwards. It didn't run forwards. I want you to think about that for a second. It is such a deep concept. And as you jump down this rabbit hole of research, you find that Plato wasn't the only one who wrote about this. And the concept of living in a world where time runs backwards is a heavy thought. And we apply it today with the way that we think. And would time change things if it ran backwards? Do we grow younger? No. You grow older, but the days run in reverse. Think about that. It's absolutely crazy. And that was 2,500 years ago. Now, what evidence do we have today? When we discuss this, what evidence do we have about time travelers? It's a very strange world that's going on out there. And if you examine some of these images that I'm about to present to you, and one of them for the first time, let's take a look at this. This is a time traveler that might have been caught on film. This was a 1928 Charlie Chaplin film. Apparently shows a woman using a cell phone. This next image, this is taken in the 1930s. This gentleman is completely out of place with everybody else that is there. He's got a T-shirt with a logo on it. He's got wraparound sunglasses. He's got a modern haircut. He's got a little growth of a beard. And it appears that he's got some kind of device in his hand. Now, some say it's a camera. Some say that these glasses were typical of the day. Some even say they wore logo shirts in the 1930s. Well, I never saw any of it. And this image is certainly an interesting one. Next, this photograph is mine. This photograph was sent to me from a friend of mine that I went to high school with. I've never published it before. I've had it for probably 6 or 7 years. And this friend, her name is Julie, who I recently saw in Indianapolis, and we talked about this photograph. She sent this to me. She goes, Jimmy, I'm going through our family albums, and I found this. It's my sister using a cell phone in the 1970s. And now, obviously, right? I don't know. It's just an interesting photograph. And this was taken by a friend of mine. And I go back. I've had this photograph as a screensaver. I constantly go back. That's her mom sitting there. I constantly go back and look at this and think to myself, what is going on in this picture? Now, does she remember a cell phone in the family? No. An alternate timeline? Maybe. Some kind of Mandela effect? Possibly. But the photograph itself is an interesting one. Let's go here. In this image, this was taken in around 1890 to 1900. This is a group of miners. And what is interesting here is the gentleman that is sitting in the lower left-hand corner. Now, when you look at the way that everybody else is dressed here, everybody is dressed identical, except for this dude. He's got a T-shirt, shorts, modern haircut, and look at the guy next to him. Everybody else is wearing a hat. Let's go back to the previous photograph. And you can see him sitting on the rock in the lower left-hand corner. Everybody looks the same, except for this guy. Evidence of a time traveler? Possibly, Maybe, but it's an interesting photograph. Here's a picture that was given to all of us from Andrew Bashago. Andrew, you know, the famous time traveler that is part of our community, and I've done a couple of TV shows with him and other things. He's been on Fade to Black many times, and he tells of this photograph. This is the Gettysburg Address with President Abraham Lincoln, and Andrew says that is a picture of him at the age of 5 at the Gettysburg Address. And he goes on to say that when he transported back, that he didn't have any shoes and that he was wearing a pair of oversized boots. And he describes how he got his clothes and everything else for this photograph to be taken. He says he remembers the photograph being taken. Nonetheless, there could be a simple explanation to this image. But this was first presented to me by Andrew Bashago, and it's a cool photograph anyway. So next, there is a few photographs that I'm going to show, including the one that I showed you for my friend Julie that I went to school with, who's married to my former roommate and best friend Bruce. I've known Julie for a long, long time. A lot of pictures of people in the past, you know, like the Charlie Chaplin film, that appear to be on a cell phone. And here's a picture from the early 1950s of some ladies crossing a street. And here you see somebody texting. Now, I don't know maybe it's a compact, maybe it's a mirror, maybe she's looking, I don't know. But I see somebody texting on a cell phone. Next. If there isn't an out-of-place person in a photograph, it doesn't exist. Look at this. 1960. And that picture, aside from the people in the background, but the woman in this picture could have been taken yesterday. Look at her outfit. Now, if somebody was walking around like that in 1960, dressed in public, okay, I've never seen it, but check that out. Next. His picture is from a movie from 1949. That's right. I'm not saying it's a cell phone, but that looks like an iPhone 6. I'm just saying, 1949. This picture here, you need to take a really close look. All right? Right after World War II, you can see the group of military men. But that gentleman in the background is talking on a cell phone. He is literally just, what's up? It's an incredible photograph. I'm going to save the best for last. Early 1900s. And I'm not saying Donald Trump is a time traveler, but that image is not photoshopped. That is a family portrait taken in 1900, and take a close look. I have looked at this photograph so many times, and I just can't figure that one out. It's a strange photograph. Now, here's the thing. We can look at these. I've got dozens and dozens of photographs like this that are completely out of place. Many send them to me. I research, and at times I'm just looking at stuff and I see stuff and I save it. And Trump's Uncle John was Tesla's assistant. No, he was an engineer that was sent in to get Tesla's stuff after Tesla died. And that is a fact. That actually happened. So we can go and look at all of this and look at these images. And I encourage all of you to not only look at these images here that I have sent you, but to look at other historical stuff and see what you see in the background. Just take a close look. If you find anything interesting, send it to me. I would love to see. And if you have other stuff that you have collected and seen over the years, send it to me. All right. I will use it on a future show. And I certainly always want to not only find something else out, but add stuff to my database and continue my research. So definitely do that. When I come back after the break, I live in Los Angeles, California. I'm out here in the Mojave Desert. I'm about 40 miles north of Los Angeles. But I've lived in Hollywood, lived in Burbank, and out here, Hollywood is a way of life. All right. And I've seen the trends of filmmaking and what is going on out there. And I love to watch movies and I love science fiction. When I come back after the break, I am going to give you, and not in any particular order, a list of time travel movies that I compiled off of the top of my head. They're not in any order. They're not. But some of them you may not have seen. And these are endorsed by me. And I'm going to go through them and why I think they are not only cool, but some of the science behind these motion pictures. Tonight, it is The Secrets of Time Travel. I am your host, Jimmy Church. We are just getting started. I've got lots of stuff. You're going to want to watch this many, many times on the Game Changer and UNX networks. Race Hobbs, I am your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. I'll be right back with more The Secrets of Time Travel right after this short break.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network.
Your 1 million gigawatt paranormal powerhouse, KUNX DB, VX.
Right now, Eden Pier is having their famous BOGO deal on thunderstorm air purifiers. One listener wrote, "It makes a huge difference in our cat litter box stink. I just wish I waited for the BOGO deal. I need another one." Well, now's the time. BOGO is back, so when you buy one thunderstorm, you get one free. No matter how many you buy 2, you get 2 free. You buy 5, you get 5 free. The thunderstorm will completely eliminate any odor, even the worst like pets, cigarette smoke, urine, and cooking. Now is the time to order. Eden Pier's buy one, get one free sale is 1 week only. With over 265,000 thunderstorms sold and countless 5-star reviews, you know it works. People are buying several for around the home and even as gifts. Just go to EdenPureDeals.com and use discount code FADERBOGO. That's FADERBOGO, FADERBOGO. BOGO is buy one, get one free. That's EdenPureDeals.com, discount code FADERBOGO. And as always, shipping is free.
This is Billy Carson, founder and CEO of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv is the fastest growing and one of the most watched networks in the world. And I would like to personally invite you to check out our expanding library of TV, film, lectures, and special presentations. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv has over 6,000 videos covering lost history, health, UFOs, spirituality, and our future. We are committed to our community, and with my personal invitation, you can right now get your own free 30-day membership at ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Your own library of information starts today at ForbiddenKnowledge.tv.
Because you never got that pony you always wanted. Damn it. Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network.
Listen, I know, and you know, that you've always wanted your first crystal skull. Or maybe you're a collector just like me, but you just don't know where to go to find the real thing. Then I met Carolyn Ford over at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Carolyn is the guardian of Einstein, one of the most respected ancient crystal skulls in the world. All of her unique skulls have been imprinted sitting with Einstein in his sacred lodge and are carved from the finest gemstone and materials. Imprinting is the process of receiving the ancient wisdom from the master skull or master computer. Einstein, the ancient crystal skull. To see Carolyn's current collection of crystal skulls, just visit her store at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com or click on the banner over on our site. Don't forget to use the promo code Jimmy at checkout to receive 10% off of your order today. That's promo code Jimmy. Finding your first or next crystal skull is easy. Just visit EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier, and this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. We're of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier, and I'm Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers, and you're listening to Jimmy Church. The Revolution.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, time travel, the secrets of time travel. Got a lot to discuss tonight. We're gonna touch on just about every angle of time travel tonight, and I've got a really cool segment on John Teeter coming up too as well. And now, like I mentioned right before the break, I'm in Hollywood. Now, I've loved movies before I ever lived here, but it's really cool being around. You know, my neighborhood is Hollywood in general, Los Angeles in general. It's full of actors, and you have every aspect. You have sound, you have lights, you have cameras, all of the production, catering, right? Costume design, staging. You have producers and writers and directors everywhere, and it's a great subject to talk about. And whatever aspect of it that you enjoy about film happens. This is our life here in Hollywood, and I pay a lot of attention to films. I like the way that they're. I pay attention to the cinematography, how things are framed, story flow. I'm always thinking about the hero's journey and how that's applied to different films. Love documentaries. I love nonfiction filmmaking too as well. And I enjoy it. And of course, I'm always making another film with a group of friends and another great director, and I am able to get into filmmaking, right? Well, now going back to my earliest memories and watching films, it seems that some of my most favorite films, and I didn't understand it then, are about time travel. And so here is my list. And I'm starting off first, obviously, with Back to the Future. And now I've compiled this list just off of the top of my head. And if I would have gone back and put this in a particular order, that would have been pretty tough because each one of them is great in its own way. But Back to the Future, in 1984, right? Back to the Future is unique in that it was a 3-part film series, 1, 2, and 3, where Back to the Future Part 3 may be better, maybe the best film of the franchise. I still go back and Part 1 is as great as it is, but then you watch 2 and it takes things to another level. Then you get to 3, well, you've got ZZ Top. But aside from that, it takes the paradox ideas, which we're going to go very deep into in a few minutes, and applies that. In that, it may be cool to go back in time, but you're going to mess something up. Something's going to get messed up, and you've got to go back and fix what you already fixed. And they do that for 3 films in a row. And it lays out these scientific concepts in a comedy series of films. There's a lot of heavy science that is applied in Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3. And all of it, those romantic ideas that we talk about, but the grandfather paradox plays out centrally in all of this. Now, the idea of going back to high school with your parents, that's about as cool of a thought as can be. And how that happens in Back to the Future Part 1 is absolutely tremendous. It's very smart writing, and that's why this just popped up as my first movie. Next, The Adam Project. And now this was just released, I think it was Netflix, 6 months ago. And when you have a big budget Hollywood film, Ryan Reynolds, about time travel, I'm going to watch it. And it certainly didn't disappoint. But what was interesting about this film, again, it's Ryan Reynolds and his younger self. And again, if you haven't seen the film, go and watch it. It's very interesting, and the science behind it is pretty sound. Next, Looper. Looper is discussed a lot when it comes to time travel films. And it's different in that, again, we've got the full principles of the paradox playing out here. But this is about assassins that are sent backwards and forwards in time to do some dirty work. Very complex. And I think that in the beginning of the film, and especially when you see it now, and if you haven't seen it, I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but you find out pretty quickly what the film is about. And you see that in the diner in the first scene. And how is this going to play out? It's a very interesting film, just completely about time travel. Next, it's one of my favorite films on time travel. It's called Primer. And Primer is an extremely low budget independent film made by a family, and it discusses so many different. Now it gets heavy into the science, which is great, and for an independent film, that is also amazing. The time machine in this film, and you have to see it to believe it, is a Whirlpool refrigerator box, a cardboard refrigerator box with Christmas lights. And it's the central character in the film. And now that I've told you that, when you go and see the film, you're going to go, yeah, that's a refrigerator box with Christmas lights. It's about amazing script writing, great acting, and made on an extreme budget. I think they made the whole film for $7,000. I could be wrong on that number. It might have been $8,000. Primer is one of the best time travel movies that you are ever going to watch. Write that down. Primer. Next, and this is The Time Machine, and I like both versions of this. The original, of course, 1960. The other one came out in the mid 2000s, and both are great films, and I enjoy them for their own reasons. But yeah, going to the distant past and swinging it out and going to the far, far future is what The Time Machine is all about. Great film. Tenet. Now, Tenet is complex. This is Christopher Nolan's film. And Tenet, one of the complaints about the film was one of the reasons why I enjoyed it so much, is that the film was too technical, too complex, and too deep, right? That's the reason why I enjoyed Tenet. It made me think. And I knew after watching Tenet for the first time, I was like, well, I'm going to watch this tomorrow. And I'm going to watch it again later on this week. I need to understand what's going on here. It's an incredible film. Tenet, Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan's on my list a few times, by the way. Tenet, if you haven't seen it, must watch. The Tomorrow War. Again, another Netflix film, and this came out last year about an alien invasion and time travelers, a platoon, an army that needs to be sent, needs to time travel to save the world. Again, as far as time travel movies go, this is high up on the list. And if you haven't seen The Tomorrow War, go and check it out. Of course, we have Terminator, all of them. And the first Terminator is a bit more vicious than the movies that followed it. But the first Terminator still up there as one of the best time travel movies. And it's one of the most quoted movies ever. But for me, I think Terminator 2 is at equal to the first Terminator. There was reasons for that. There was a big leap in technology in the way that the film was able to be produced. I'm talking about Terminator 2, Judgment Day. And I really enjoyed that. But the first two Terminator films, absolutely some of the best time travel movies ever. Next. Now, this movie you probably haven't seen. It's called Time Trap. Again, a small independent film and one of the best time travel movies you are ever going to see. It's right up there with Primer. It's right up there with Back to the Future. Time Trap is about some kids in school that go spelunking. They go camping. And they get I don't want to give it away. They get stuck in a cavern that when they pull up outside, they see a 1969 VW bus with peace signs painted on it, but it's been there for a while. And a rope. That's all I'm going to say. One of the best, as far as special effects go, especially for an independent film, this film has it all. And the science behind it is crazy great. And some of the scenes and how it resolves in the end, some of the best production you're ever going to see in a film. And this is an independent film. Time Trap. If you're going to go watch a time travel movie after this show tonight, it should be Time Trap. Well, or Primer, either one. But Time Trap is one of the best time travel films you will ever see. Next up, of course, The Planet of the Apes. And both old and new, but the original Planet of the Apes. And with Charlton Heston, there he is there. and the ending, of course, with the Statue of Liberty. And you find out in the beginning that something has happened with the crew of Apollo, and something has changed time, and they arrive back on Earth in the distant future. They think they're on another planet, right? And then they find out it's Earth. Absolutely incredible movie, and I watch it all the time. Planet of the Apes. Idiocracy, another film I quote a lot, and I talk about it here. It's just one of the coolest films, super funny, time travel movie. And I'm not going to give anything away here if you haven't seen it, but Idiocracy is also something that needs to be on your list if you haven't seen it. The thing is, it's a military experiment gone wrong, and a garbage dump. I'm going to leave that right there. One of the best time travel movies, and also one of the funniest movies you will ever see. But Idiocracy, it needs to be at the top of your list. And then next up, another classic, Time Cop. I can't tell you how many times I have seen this movie. And Jean-Claude Van Damme, Time Cop, I'm just going to leave it right there. One of the best movies of all time. It just happens to be about time travel. 12 Monkeys. What is there to say about 12 Monkeys that hasn't already been said? I remember the first time that I saw 12 Monkeys, and I literally thought it was like the best movie I had ever seen. I put it right up there with The Godfather. It's that great of a film. Stellar, career-achieving performances by the entire cast. One of the best scripts. One of the most scientific scripts put together. And remember, not to give anything away, but this is the future, going back and trying to fix the past and the paradoxes that result from that. Absolutely incredible film. Got the key. Incredible film. So well shot, too, as well. And the images from the future, man, 12 Monkeys. The TV series was pretty good as well. Next up, what can I say? Interstellar. I'm going to be talking another Christopher Nolan film. Going to be talking about Interstellar a few times tonight and the science behind Interstellar. And, of course, Kip Thorne will be getting into all of that. But going back to my point that I made earlier when it comes to time travel, one of the things that just isn't discussed because it bums people out is if you go out there farting around the universe and messing around with black holes and wormholes and speed of light and all of that stuff, you go out and start doing these things, you're going to come back to Earth to a different planet. And for me, the scene with Matthew McConaughey, coming back and seeing his daughter again, who he hasn't seen since she was, 8 years old. And now she's, 40 years older than he is and is at the end of her days. And he has to come in and talk to her. I'm getting a lump in my throat right now. It's one of those aspects. Are you willing to give up friends and family to go out and time travel? Time travel is real. All right. The ability to do it is real. And the way that it's laid out in Interstellar, not only the scientific aspects of this, but the deep, deep philosophical questions that are presented with time travel are in Interstellar. It's an incredible movie. It's a great story. When they are at the edge of the black hole and they come back to their ship and they mess up and they're on that planet for an hour too long, and they get back to the ship, 21 years have passed. And their crewmate has been waiting for them for 21 years. That's all I'm going to say. If you haven't seen the movie, go and check it out. But it's these philosophical questions that are presented so well in Interstellar. Next, one of the best, Donnie Darko. Most have seen it by now. I was channel surfing 1998, 1999. It was DirecTV, and I was home alone, channel surfing. Donnie Darko pops up. You know, you remember those DirecTV menus. I'm sure it's still the same. Scrolling down, Donnie Darko, what's that? Info. Click on that. Oh, okay, time travel. What? Oh, okay, I'm going to watch this. Never heard of it. And popped it in. It's a movie now that I've seen probably around 100 times. Deep, heavy, fantastic film with certainly one of the best musical soundtracks in the history of cinema and the church. Yes, Donnie Darko. One of the best. As you can see, these are not in any particular order. If I've got Donnie Darko coming in at number 15. Next, Contact. Now, I watched Contact twice in the last 2 weeks. I watch it about once a month, every couple of months. It's just a fantastic film, and I love it. But the time travel part of this is not what you may think. All right? Now, it goes back to wormholes. And most have seen Contact, so I'm not giving anything away. In the end, Jodie Foster, when she does her trip and she's dropped into the device, they don't know what's going to happen. She's gone for 18 hours. In those 18 hours, she goes to what may be another universe, certainly was another galaxy, travels through a wormhole, has her experience with the aliens, then comes back and is ready to share everything to the world. She's recorded everything with the camera on the side of her head. She comes back and they tell her that the experiment malfunctioned, that she just fell through and that that was it. It was less than a second. And she says that's impossible. That's the time travel aspect of this, right? Where you can go out and come back and to everybody here, you never left, but you were gone for this extended period of time. Contact and just that one scene in the film, or that series of scenes, I should say, that start to explore this is absolutely incredible. Now, another movie that I talk about nearly at the same time as Contact, every time that I bring these subjects up, is Arrival. Arrival is a time travel movie. And you don't understand that and don't know that in the beginning. But again, if you haven't seen Arrival, I don't want to give anything too much away here. But the movie on the surface is about communicating with aliens, right? Okay, and trying to break down that communication. But in the end, you find out that it's a time travel movie. And that's what E.T. had brought us, Arrival. Next, of course, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I'm going to leave that right there. One of the best time travel movies you're ever going to see. I want to get all of these in. Hot Tub Time Machine. Yeah, man. One of the best time travel movies you're ever going to see. And again, it's a comedy. And I get that. And it's really funny. And I get that too. But in a comedic script, in a comedic storyline, the complexities and the problems and the issues and the paradoxes of time travel are brought front and center. Hot Tub Time Machine. Absolutely incredible time travel movie. And I'm going to leave you with this. This is a movie that I saw when I was a kid. And of course, it's Monty Python's Terry Gilliam, Time Bandits. Again, the attention to detail in this, some of the science behind it. It's a fun movie. It's a funny movie. The special effects in it are absolutely incredible. And what's not to love? It's Monty Python. And so you get a lot of the familiar characters and faces that are really having fun in this movie. But again, it's the science behind it and how it's laid out. And if you haven't seen Time Bandits, which may be before your time, and I get that, Time Bandits needs to be on your list. And this is just a fraction. I didn't get to any of some of my favorite films about time travel from the 50s and the 60s that I've talked about on the show over the years. There's too many to just pop down into one list and go through it. We have too many things to talk about tonight on the show. The reason why I am doing this first is that all of the concepts of time travel that I am going to discuss and that I've already covered are in these films. And so with the basic knowledge of time travel, and that is paradoxes, and that is wormholes and black holes and speed of light and faster than light, all of these time machines, all of these ideas are presented their own way in these films. And there are so many different concepts of time travel and how it could happen. You get each one of those in these films. So that's my list. That's the 20 that popped into my head as I prepared for the show. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight on this very broadcast, it is The Secrets of Time Travel. I'll be right back after this short break, and we're going to continue. What's next? John Teeter. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer and UNX Networks. Race Hobbs. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
You're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the X.
Amigos, yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
The Believer is the chilling true story of Dr. John Mack, a renowned Harvard psychiatrist and Pulitzer Prize winner.
This is an outreach program from the cosmos to the consciously impaired.
He risked it all to investigate human encounters with aliens. The Believer, Alien Encounters, Hard Science, and the Passion of John Mack. Written by award-winning former New York Times journalist and author Ralph Blumenthal. Now available in paperback from High Road Books.
Introducing the Game Changer blend from River Moon Coffee that delivers a customized blend made specifically for the Fadernauts. If the game is rigged, change the game. It's a bolder cup with some bite. Game Changer is the coffee of choice for those that prefer an organic dark roast that is slightly lighter and milder, but it's still dark. With wild notes of pecans and chocolate with a rich, balanced, full-bodied cup that is roasted to perfection for a great coffee to start your day, as an after-dinner coffee or anywhere in between. Artisan, small batch roasted to perfection. USDA certified organic, all River Moon coffee is freshly roasted and packaged in the USA. Just go to rivermooncoffee.com or click on the banners over on our site and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. rivermooncoffee.com. Do you want to be an official Fadernaut? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com. Badernauts, when you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA.
Hi, I'm Ray Sobbs, and I'm here to tell you about something I really think you're going to like. The UNX Network is a part of a larger group called UNX Media, and one of the things we offer is the quarterly UNX magazine, which is available both in print and digital formats. This amazing magazine covers all aspects of the unexplained and makes for a great coffee table periodical that is certain to spark enlightening conversations in your living rooms. We invite you to check out the latest digital issue for free. Just go to unxnetwork.com/membership and fill out your free membership with your name and email and become a new free member. The new summer issue is now available, and the theme is Time Anomalies, which includes a feature article written by our managing editor, Lee Spiegel. Just go to unxnetwork.com/memberships. That's unxnetwork.com/memberships and get your free e-copy of the UNX magazine today.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. Tonight, the secrets of time travel. I'm going to try to get to every single angle and aspect of this. It's one of my favorite subjects. And next up, this guy, John Titor. There he is. Now, this image of John Titor started around the internet many years ago. And I don't know if this is John Titor, but it supposedly is. He's got a great haircut, by the way. But there's John Titor. Now, my involvement with John Titor got pretty deep. And when everything started to happen, John Titor first started to pose as somebody named Time Travel _0. Time Travel 0. and started posting on the Time Travel Institute, which was a web forum about time travel. And that's a whole nother discussion. And then on Art Bell's post-to-post forums, and all of this kicked off in 2000 and 2001. And this poster, Time Travel Zero, was claiming to be an American military time traveler from the year 2036. Now, I was glued to these forums. I was posting in these forums and watching the next post and the explanation of things and wow, right? And images started to appear. We'll get to all of that. The first post using John Titor's military symbol appeared on the Time Travel Institute forums on November 2nd, 2000, and again, under the name of Time Travel Zero. The name John Titor, and I believe it's Teeter, it's not Titer, it's Teeter, was not used until January 2001 when Time Travel Zero began posting over on the Art Bell BBS forums. And a couple of curious things, and we're going to get into this very deeply here in just a second. Teeter was in a very unique name in that you couldn't find a history of Teeter or his family anywhere in the United States or the world. I mean, it's like a unique name. And if it was a hoax, somebody spent a long time trying to find out a last name that just didn't exist. But Teeter didn't exist. And I, like a lot of people back then, were immediately searching the name Teeter, and you were coming up empty. It just didn't exist, except for back on these forums. Now, he claimed to be a soldier from 2036. He said that he was based out of Tampa, Florida. He was assigned to a time travel project and sent back to 1975. And the mission was specific to 1975 because he needed to retrieve an IBM 5100 computer. And this is one of the 5100s there, which he said was needed to debug various legacy computer programs in 2036. Now, the IBM 5100 runs the APL and basic programming languages. And now, so somebody had to have had a pretty intense knowledge of computers to make this stuff up, because these comments, which were heavily researched and continue to be researched, turned out that this was partially true and maybe totally true, and that the issues with those legacy computer programs were real, but were only known to a handful. I'm talking about 5 or 6 people in the programming world back then. And that also raised a lot of questions that was all of this true? Was John Teeter, Time Travel Zero, was he indeed a time traveler from 2036? A lot of things were presented. A nuclear war, a civil war, the United States breaking up into factions. He was part of a regiment that was based in Tampa, Florida. Communal living. He brought up aspects of mad cow disease and some other things that were very, very interesting. Some of it didn't really turn out to be factual, but some of it did, and it was a head scratcher for many. Now, this is where, for me, where the story took an interesting turn. And watching this stuff in real time back then in 2000, it was an incredible ride. I mean, I couldn't believe it. And part of it, it was this. This was his symbol from his regiment. And he started posting this online. Again, there wasn't any reference to this anywhere. And if it was artwork that was generated by somebody else, right? It would have surfaced eventually on the net. Somebody would have said, I drew this, or I created this, or here's the original images to this. It never happened. And even to this day, by the way, I've got to get me a John Teeter t-shirt with that symbol on it. But it's never been, the hoax has never been revealed and the players behind it. More on that in just a bit. And then we have this. This was his time machine. Now, I want you to take a close look. We're going to discuss many aspects of this time machine. And he was very open about the technology, about how it was built. I think he said General Electric perfected time travel. And I don't know if this was a General Electric device, but he did talk about that. He provided schematics. We'll get into that too as well. But what I always found interesting about this particular time machine, if it was hoaxed, then there was a lot of effort put into this. You have labels, you have stickers, you have instructions, you have the model building, if it's fake, right? Because back then, in the mid 90s, computers weren't what they are today. They simply weren't. And so back then, to generate type, to have labels created and made, we can do all of that easily today. Back then, it wasn't a simple process to get done. You would have to have had a team of people involved with this. And not only the artwork and the page generation and the layout, and the model making, but all of this had to have been done and then designed by somebody technical on the front end. And you also have to have the science and the physics behind this and laid out. There were things that John Teeter brought up for the first time that was never brought up in time travel before. And one of those aspects was gravity clocks. And I remember him talking about, I'm like, gravity clocks, what's that? Well, and as he explained it, wherever you are on Earth, you're going to have a specific gravity signature, altitude, location, all of this comes into play. And when you travel time, you want to be back where you are at that exact precise place geographically. You don't want to be in the middle of the ocean. You don't want to be in the middle of space, right? What if Earth is, going around and you time travel and Earth is on the other side of the sun and you come out of, and you're floating in space. You don't want that. Gravity clocks. You want to be in the exact spot where you are after you're done with traveling backwards or forwards in time. And that was an aspect of this and his explanation of it that had never been talked about before. And for me, it was one of the aspects of this case that was added. Not only was it adding to the validity of the case, but to me, it involved too many minds to be a hoax. Next, this is the schematic and the breakout of his time machine. Now, I'm going to go back to what I had just brought up. To do something like this at that period of time, this is complex. Now, you can do this with a CAD system today on computers, but back then, no. In my eyes, in looking at this, This is a pen and ink drawing. This isn't a CAD drawing. Remember, this is the year 2000. Now, it could have been CAD, but the CAD systems to generate something like this were rare and very expensive, used by the biggest architectural and engineering firms in the world. I think this was drawn, okay, to create, to be fake, I should say, it would have to be drawn. And the artist that would have drawn that would have come forward, would have blown this hoax out, would say, this is the original drawing I did in Burbank or wherever in 1996 for the John Teeter hoax. No, I think that's a legitimate CAD drawing from the future. It's very complex. And for a hoax, and this is just a small part of this. I have sat around with many people discussing John Teeter and all of the aspects of it. And I keep falling back to the time machine that I just showed you in the previous photograph and stuff like this that takes too many people to create back then. It would have to be authentic. It would have to be. Next, this is another, this is from the technical manual. And you can see it's part of the operational guide for the time machine. And look at that there. Now, this is great. And that looks like an official government document to me. That looks like something from a military training manual to me, to my eyes, right? Now, think about that. Very elaborate if it was a hoax. And somewhere out there, if it was a hoax, all of this stuff exists. And I am surprised if it was hoaxed that somebody hasn't come forward with one of the most sensational hoax stories of all time, because it's a heck of a movie, right? But no, that's why it's stuff like this. It just feels real to me. And I've looked at it too many times. Another page from the operations manual for the time machine. Again, right? It's absolutely incredible to look at. And when we look at these pages of the manual, that's great. That is totally awesome. But it's stuff like this that started to surface. This is the aspects of time travel and how it applies in the operations guide. That's one of my favorite pages. And then we have this. This is an actual photograph of John Teeter's time machine in one of his vehicles. Now, he used a few different automobiles and trucks to place his time machine in. And what he found, now, I think this was a Corvette, but every time I look at this, it feels like a Mustang to me, but I believe this is a Corvette. This is a crisp and clear picture there's other versions of this picture on the net that aren't as good as this. I want to present you with the best, but you can clearly see what is happening here. And it doesn't feel fake. It doesn't feel like it's hoaxed. That just looks real. And he went back and explained that he had to use another vehicle because he found out that the sports car with the time machine in the front seat, as you can see in the passenger seat, the suspension wasn't strong enough. He had to have something with a beefier suspension, a four-wheel drive, a truck of some kind. But look at that. That's an incredible photograph. This is the time machine. It looks like it's in a home. And again, it is sitting there so you can see it. And you can see the labels. You can see how to operate it. The instructions are there. It's just incredible to see these pictures popping up on the forums. And I was like, oh my, this has gone to a whole nother level. It's gone to a whole nother level. Next, this is his time machine I believe in a Blazer or Ford Bronco 4-wheel drive. He needed the beefier suspension, and there it is there. Next. Let me back up. So here with Teeter, as quickly as he appeared and his openness on the forums, ask me any question, right? And the questions were there and they were solid. He didn't dance. He didn't skate. He answered everything in a very straightforward manner. And the conversations, they lasted for about a year. And they're archived, and you can go and read all of them. Were so deep and so scientific, but there was also, again, the philosophical aspect to this, what life was like in the future, what he was dealing with things, and how he felt in 1975, how he felt in the year 2000, and why he had to come by the year 2000, and that was also to see a version of himself. That was pretty interesting. Again, creating a paradox. Well, one of the things that John Teeter had explained is that he was creating another timeline. And so he was able to go and visit himself without creating a paradox. I thought that was pretty interesting too as well. But the conversations were deep. They were long. And the members of these forums back then, I feel that because I was one of them, we all felt that we were actually talking to a real-time traveler. I don't think there was a few skeptics out there, and you have to be skeptical. And I think that all of us were pretty skeptical in the beginning. I think Art was getting faxes sent to him and to his office out there in Pahrump, to his studio. And we had to be skeptical in the beginning. But I think that faded away as the months went by, in that the answers seemed reasonable, right? I don't think that any of us went, well, okay, that doesn't feel quite right. Somebody's making this up. But then he said goodbye. He said, I got to go. I got to go back. My mission's over. And the Teeter post ended in late March of 2001. And I'm going to tell you, I remember sitting there going, it's over? It's done? And that was it. Now, what were we left with? We were left with trying to unravel this. And yes, his attorney, his mom was supposed to come on Fade to Black, and which never happened. John was supposed to have returned, and that never happened. There were assurances made to me that when this happened, and it was going to, that this would happen on Fade to Black. Well, none of that happened. The amount of research going back into this, the documentaries that were made, the web series that were done, there was a couple of TV movies that weren't any good that were made. But I was also contacted by dozens and dozens of people that said that they were John Teeter. I had a half a dozen of those contact me. I had another dozen people that contacted me that they created the story, that they wrote the story, that they were part of this, and they were working with this person, and it was different reasons why it was done. It was done for a hoax. It was done to make money. It was done to make movies. It was done as a social experiment to see how people would react. It was done for and everybody couldn't be telling me the truth. It's multiple directions all the time. I started to roll my eyes when I got contacted by somebody else that was part of the Teeter camp. The one thing that I can tell you as of today, and here we are, the 11th of July, 2022, the John Teeter story has not been proven to be a hoax. Has not. Some good researchers out there have put pretty comprehensive and compelling stories together, but none of it ever held water, and no definitive proof of anything was ever brought forward. And to this day, the time machine has not surfaced. If it's in somebody's garage, hasn't surfaced. The original field manual, the writers that put that together and the graphic designers that designed it, and the original artwork and those the original films that needed to be created to make all of those stickers for the inside of the time machine, the lid, the instructions on how to operate it. None of that stuff has surfaced. None of it. Anybody that took the original photographs, the stuff that was posted online, who took those pictures? Where are they? They've never surfaced. None of the real evidence. You can have circumstantial evidence. You can have people that say this or that, or you can have different web searches put together and IP addresses. You can do all of that you want. That's all circumstantial. The real evidence has never been brought forward, and we are here in the middle of 2022. So I will say this before I get to the next break. If anybody out there has evidence, has the original time machine, has the original photographs, has the original field manuals, the technical writing that went behind it, all of the stuff that was presented on the forums, everything. If you have any of that, I would like to hear from you. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, the secrets of time travel. That's right. So that was John Teeter. Good stuff, right? Still an open question. When we come back, we're going to talk physics. This is Fade to Black. Stay with us.
Hi everybody, this is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Your 1 million gigawatt paranormal powerhouse, KUNX DB, the X.
Right now, the world couldn't be more chaotic. History shows us what gold does when the world goes crazy. It goes up in value. Right now, we're in unprecedented times. The pandemic, the war in Ukraine, the devaluation of the U.S. dollar. Gold and other precious metals are a defense measure against the hyperinflation that's happening right now. So, what can you do to protect yourself? Call my friend Alan Johnson at United Gold Group. He's dedicated to helping people secure their retirement income. He'll help you with gold, with silver, and other precious metals, and show you how to set up your own self-directed IRA. Safe and secure, United Gold Group makes gold ownership easy and affordable. There couldn't be a better time, so call now and get a silver American Eagle proof set with a qualified IRA. Call 800-753-8534. That's 800-753-8534 or visit UnitedGoldGroup.com. Reach out to my friend, Alan Johnson.
The Believer is the chilling true story of Dr. John Mack, a renowned Harvard psychiatrist and Pulitzer Prize winner.
This is an outreach program from the cosmos to the consciously impaired.
He risked it all to investigate human encounters with aliens. The Believer, Alien Encounters, Hard Science, and the Passion of John Mack. Written by award-winning former New York Times journalist and author Ralph Blumenthal. Now available in paperback from High Road Books.
Are you ready to read about true paranormal events? UNX Media publishes nonfiction books about UFOs, ghosts and haunted places, time anomalies, cryptid creatures, and more. Just like KUNX DB Radio, it's all about unexplained phenomena. Visit www.unxmedia.com to see our list of great book titles by Debbie Ziegelmeyer, Gene Walker, Devin Listrom, Wayne Lawrence, Bill Spicer, and yours truly, Margie Kay. That's unxmedia.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from River Moon. Just click on the River Moon coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B blend.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact.
Join us August 5th through the 7th, 2022 at the Drury Conference Center in Cape Girardeau, Missouri for the launch of the Midwest Conference on the Unknown. There are 3 interactive days packed with vendors, exhibitors, and nationally recognized researchers presenting on unknown topics like UFO UAP phenomenon, ghosts and Bigfoot, and Missouri's own Momo, the Missouri Monster. Cape Girardeau has long been one of the most sought-out areas for UFO enthusiasts since the 1941 UFO crash, and now is your chance to be a part of the inaugural conference. Visit cape-events.com or follow us on Facebook at Midwest Conference on the Unknown for more information. Ex-listeners get 30% off by using the promo code XVIP. That's cape-events.com, promo code XVIP.
When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2B blend for 15% off of your order today.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony. Damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, the secrets of time travel. John Teeter. John Teeter. All right. Going to keep this rolling. Got a lot of stuff to still get in tonight. And I promise that I will do my best to get it all in. I have a feeling we're going to do a part 2, part 3. And I just posted over on Twitter. You can go and check it out. My Back to the Future license plate. It's right there staring at me. I am into time travel. Now, let's get into some of the science in this. Physics and what does physics say? What does science say about this? And so, yeah, let's go right there. And I want to talk about one of the first aspects of this is wormholes. And you can today, this is what is so exciting about this subject about time travel, is you can head into any direction of research on the internet and start reading about the physics of time travel. Lots of books have been written on this. And jump into the subject of wormholes and the math, the science, the algorithms, the thought processes behind wormholes and what is going on. It's deep, and it is a very, very, very serious subject in the world of science. And now I'm going to get into just about every aspect of wormholes and black holes in this next segment. And first, I want to talk about wormholes and the teleportation and traveling forwards through time may be possible through wormholes, which are tunnels that link different regions of the universe. Now, instantaneous travel and travel into the future would become possible by traveling through a wormhole. And this completely free aspect of this, of time dilation, which is predicted by Einstein's theory of relativity. Now, before I get into how it works, the theory of relativity is brought up a lot when it comes to wormholes and black holes and time travel. Now, Einstein himself didn't use words like time travel with his research, and there is crossover between special and general relativity when you apply the math and the equations to what time travel could be and how it would be done. But Einstein himself didn't discuss this. All of this was discovered later by different physicists who would go back and research and apply special and general relativity to modern research. And that's where they went, hey, wait a minute. Time travel is possible because Einstein's figures, his numbers, his equations say that it is so and it is possible. This came out of later research. This wasn't something that Einstein said, hey, okay, let's talk about time travel. No, that's a myth, and that's part of popular culture. It came out much later with very serious research going into this. So how does it work? Well, you need to picture a couple of different things. And I'm going to pop this up for everybody to take a look at. Okay, so in this illustration here, you can see the fabric of space, and that is the black and white grid that is folded. Okay? Now, in a linear sense, we're going in one direction on a ship, right? A probe, a ship, whatever. And we're going from point A to point B. And if point A and point B is 500 light years, traveling in one direction for 500 light years, that's how long light would take to travel that distance for 500 years. Now, how would you cheat the system? You would cheat it if you could bend space and have one point in space connected by a wormhole. Now, here it's illustrated as folding space. That wouldn't necessarily be, it depends on what aspect of a wormhole you're talking about. But it could still be in a linear sense, and the wormhole is connecting one point to another. Here it's illustrated that it would cover this great distance by going from one point in space to the other, folding space. All right? Think Dune. Okay. So how does it work? If you have a tunnel, a wormhole connecting 2 points in space together, one end of the wormhole, let's say the yellow side in this illustration, is accelerated and then brought back to a point of origin. And this is for the time travel aspect. And another way is to take one entrance, now follow me on this, stay with me, of the wormhole and move it to within the gravitational field of an object that has higher gravity than the other entrance. All right. And then you return it to a position near the other entrance. So you have an exit and an entry point, but they're both holes at either end of the wormhole. Okay? So for both of these methods to work, to make this connection that you're looking at here, time at the end of the wormhole has been moved and ages less. Or it becomes younger. Now, remember, everybody has agreed, most physicists agree, that traveling to the future is easy. You just need to jump into something really fast, head out and make a round trip and come back to Earth. That's traveling to the future. Traveling to the past is different and complex. But with a wormhole, you can. So if one entrance gets returned, anything in that has traveled through the wormhole comes out the other side younger. Okay? Younger than the stationary end that is seen by an external observer. All right? Now, however, there's a however to everything. Time connects differently through the wormhole than outside of it. Okay, so if you positioned synchronized clocks at either end of the wormhole, they will always remain synchronized as seen by the observer that is passing through the wormhole, no matter how the two ends move around. This means, now stay with me, this means that an observer entering the younger end would exit the older end at a time when the same age as the younger end is occurring, effectively going back in time as seen by an observer from the outside. Now, does this seem strange? No, it doesn't. Now, a few things have to happen. One, and I'll circle back to this in a little bit. One, you would have to be able to enter a wormhole. It would have to remain open. There's gravity. There's things that, how would you prevent the wormhole from collapsing down on top of you, right? Killing you. So that needs to be overcome. It's something that is presented in the movie Interstellar. Again, we will circle back to that and the way that Kip Thorne deals with this. All right. But back in 1993, Matt Visser published and argued that the two mouths of a wormhole with such an induced clock difference could not be brought together without inducing quantum field and gravitational effects that would either make the wormhole collapse, like I just said, or the two mouths could not come together and they would repel each other. Because of this, the two mouths could not be brought close enough for causality violation to even take place. However, Matt Visser in 1997 published another paper. This is 4 years later. And Visser hypothesized that a complex Roman ring, right? Named after Tom Roman, by the way, not the Romans, but named after Tom Roman, a configuration of a number of wormholes arranged in a symmetric polygon could act as a time machine. But Visser also says that this is more likely a flaw in classical quantum gravity theory rather than proof that time travel is possible. But what was interesting is that the science and the math said it is so. Now, physicist Kip Thorne lays everything out beautifully in the movie Interstellar. I highly recommend everybody go and read his book, the science of interstellar, black holes, wormholes, time travel, and the consequences of, and the philosophical side of this is presented beautifully in the book. Now, the math today, we haven't figured out how to keep a wormhole open and big enough for something to pass through it. A spaceship, for instance, a human body, right? We haven't. But in Interstellar, E.T. has already done it for us. That's the other part of it. It's a brilliant workaround by Kip Thorne in that E.T., we don't have to build the wormhole. We don't have to figure out how to get it done and to overcome a collapsing wormhole. The amount of energy that would have to be applied to a wormhole, not only to keep it open, but to travel either throughout the Milky Way or to another galaxy and throughout the universe, and possibly out of the universe to another universe. E.T.'s already got it figured out. E.T. has given us the gift of the wormhole. Now, how does Kip Thorne present the wormhole and what it looks like in Interstellar? This is what was really interesting. It's just a sphere in space. It's just a ball. It's not a tunnel going out, no, that's not what you see. It's just a sphere, and you enter the sphere, and the wormhole is then going to transport you. Again, a brilliant workaround, and this is Kip Thorne's math, a Nobel Prize-winning physicist who has been researching all aspects of wormholes and black holes for decades. And when Christopher Nolan needed to bring in the big brain, he brought in Kip Thorne. And Kip Thorne was very adamant from the beginning that, yes, he'll come in and he'll work on it. The movie and the idea behind Interstellar goes back a long ways before Christopher Nolan was even brought in to direct. There were many directors, including Steven Spielberg, that Steven was originally going to do Interstellar back in the 90s. That's a little piece of Hollywood trivia for you. But Kip wanted to make sure that his research and the science behind all of this, time travel and the deep philosophical questions, would be addressed directly in Interstellar, including the visualizations of both black holes and wormholes. Next, black holes. All right. Gargantuan, this black hole in Interstellar. Again, we have to go back to this because it is presented correctly in Interstellar. The technical aspect of it, the time travel side, is presented like this. You have an event horizon. You have your black hole. Let me pull up this image. And that's a ship. There's your black hole. And reminds you of something, reminds you of the way it is presented in Interstellar. And now, if you look here, you can see the black hole, and then you see the white line on the inside of the edge of the black hole. Okay, so you have two ridges. You have the edge of the black hole where you can cruise around and sort of still be safe, and maybe your planet's not going to get sucked in, but then you have the event horizon. And once you cross the event horizon, a few things happen. But one, you're not coming back. And the gravity is so strong there that once light enters, light does not come back out. That's the reason why it's black. The event horizon, once you are there, time freezes for you. So if you are inside of a craft, and the way that this is presented in Interstellar, which is why, if you haven't seen the movie, go and watch it just for these scenes with Gargantuan. But also, if you've seen the movie and maybe didn't understand it the way that I'm explaining it to you now, you can go back and watch with another mind and another set of eyes. Okay, so they needed to do a couple of things in the movie to complete the mission. I won't give that away. But here's the deal. What was presented in the movie is that there was a planet that was possibly Earth-like that we could maybe live on, that Matthew McConaughey had to go and check out. We had already sent an advanced team through the wormhole to this planet, and we never heard back. But we needed Matthew and the team needed to get down to the planet to see the condition of the planet. But he knew that it was at the edge of this black hole, Gargantuan, and going down on this planet would present a time issue. Now, the time issue wasn't as much for Matthew and his crew. It was getting back to Earth and his daughter. And he didn't want to miss his life and his family. In that, if they spend too much time there, time would pass on Earth. And by the time they got back, Earth would be a different place. In fact, Earth may even be a dead planet, and all hope is lost. And that was the big philosophical issue that was presented here. So that's what happens at the edge of a black hole. And that is part of time travel. So not going at the speed of light and leaving a planet at the speed of light and turning around and coming back, but just visiting the edge of a black hole and this planet was going to change the length of time that would pass back on Earth. As we all know, something goes wrong. But the way that it's presented in the movie was an interesting one because it was only an hour, 60 minutes. When Matthew gets back to the craft, which is orbiting the planet, 21 years have passed in that 1 hour at the edge of a black hole. That's why time travel is completely possible if you can get to a black hole and get to the edge of it. I'm going to talk about some current research that's going on right now here on planet Earth about this. But here's the deal. By the time they get back to Earth, 60, 70 years have passed, and they've left Earth. Earth is a dead planet. They built another Earth out there in space, a fake ship, a fake Earth with gravity. And when Matthew wakes up and he sees where he's at, remember, he travels through the center of the black hole. He sees they take him to his farmhouse, but it wasn't the farmhouse on Earth. It was a reproduction. They rebuilt it as a museum because all of this time has passed, but his daughter is still alive. Back to the philosophical sides of time travel. Are you willing to give that up? Now, before I continue, I will say this. Visiting black holes is a big part of science fiction. And traveling at the speed of light away from Earth and warp drives is part of science fiction. And zipping away from something, just watch Orville. Watch any episode of Star Trek. Get us out of here. Gone, right? Or you see the ships arrive. Right? You see this, right? It's part of science fiction. But here's the deal. If you are on the Starship Enterprise and you zip away from Earth at with your warp drive on, you're not coming back to Earth in the same time period. You're coming back to Earth 1,000 years in the future. It's not the same Earth that you have left. This is an aspect of time travel that is not addressed in science fiction today. Why? They do it in Interstellar, but they don't do it everywhere else. I'm going to tell you why. because you would have to have a time travel aspect of going back in time every single time you leave Earth and come back. It's got to be written into the story. So they don't address that part of it. And I hope you follow what I'm saying. So we split Earth, warp drive, gone, and we're going to come back to Earth and tell everybody what we found. You're not just showing back up at Earth at the same time that you left on the mission to tell everybody what you found out and that you've completed your mission. You can't. On the way back, the conversation has to happen. Okay, we've got to go back in time now. Everybody activate your time suits, whatever. And they got to go 1,000 years back in time to arrive back at Earth to that. And that aspect of it would have to be written into every science fiction TV series and movies where this stuff is going on. Now, think about this. All of you Trekkies out there, all of you Star Wars fans out there, all of you Marvel Universe fans, think about what I'm about to say. You're out there on the Starship Enterprise, zipping around all of these galaxies and star systems at warp drive speed every single day. Let's get us out of here. Get us out of here. Your place in time is so screwed up and getting involved with another, pulling up to another starship, Starship Atlantis, pulling up. What's up, Admiral? What place in time are they coming from? They just left something else. Where are they? Nothing is in the same place. And that is what is being researched right now by CERN. CERN is literally accelerating particles right now to go back and address Einstein's space-time. Now, let's talk about that for a second before we get to the break. We know that a large mass in the middle of space bends the fabric of space around it, and that time that is moving past any of these large masses is going to have a different aspect of time applied to it. I don't know if you guys know this, but we have a thing called the sun, and it's pretty big. And space-time is changing around the sun. We're orbiting the sun. Things pass by the sun. Things pass by Earth. Earth is a mass where space-time is bent around it too as well. We've got the moon. We've got Jupiter. We've got Saturn and Mars and Venus, where all of these aspects are bending space-time. If you look back at Einstein's own comments about this, it has to be true. So CERN right now is going back to figure some of this stuff out. How does that apply to us today? We have watches. I have a clock right in front of me clicking away. That is our version of time. It's different just around us, right here in our own star system. Think about that. Nothing is what it seems. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, the secrets of time travel. This is the stuff that nobody else will talk about. No physicist is going to discuss this stuff. And Hollywood conveniently leaves a lot out, don't they? They have to. It's a trip. This is Fade to Black. Tonight, the secrets of time travel. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'll be back with more right after this short break.
You're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the X.
Hey, what up, y'all? It's your girl Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Right now, Eden Pure is having their famous BOGO deal on thunderstorm air purifiers. One listener wrote, "It makes a huge difference in our cat litter box stink. I just wish I waited for the BOGO deal. I need another one." Well, now's the time. BOGO is back, so when you buy one thunderstorm, you get one free. No matter how many you buy 2, you get 2 free. You buy 5, you get 5 free. The thunderstorm will completely eliminate any odor, even the worst like pets, cigarette smoke, urine, and cooking. Now is the time to order. Eden Pure's buy one, get one free sale is 1 week only. With over 265,000 thunderstorms sold and countless 5-star reviews, you know it works. People are buying several for around the home and even as gifts. Just go to EdenPureDeals.com and use discount code FADERBOGO. That's FADERBOGO, FADERBOGO. BOGO is buy one, get one free. That's EdenPureDeals.com, discount code FADERBOGO. And as always, shipping is free.
This is Billy Carson, founder and CEO of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv is the fastest growing and one of the most watched networks in the world. And I would like to personally invite you to check out our expanding library of TV, film, lectures, and special presentations. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv has over 6,000 videos covering lost history, health, UFOs, spirituality, and our future. We are committed to our community, and with my personal invitation, you can, right now, get your own free 30-day membership at ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Your own library of information starts today at ForbiddenKnowledge.tv.
Your 1 million gigawatt paranormal powerhouse, KUNX DB, VX.
Are you ready to read about true paranormal events? UNX Media publishes nonfiction books about UFOs, ghosts and haunted places, time anomalies, cryptid creatures, and more. Just like KUNX DB Radio, it's all about unexplained phenomena. Visit www.unxmedia.com to see our list of great book titles by Debbie Ziegelmeyer, Gene Walker, Devin Listrom, Wayne Lawrence, Bill Spicer, and yours truly, Margie Kay. That's unxmedia.com.
Introducing the Game Changer blend from Rivermoon Coffee that delivers a customized blend made specifically for the Fadernauts. If the game is rigged, change the game. It's a bolder cup with some bite. Game Changer is the coffee of choice for those that prefer an organic dark roast that is slightly lighter and milder, but it's still dark. With wild notes of pecans and chocolate with a rich, balanced, full-bodied cup that is roasted to perfection for a great coffee to start your day, as an after-dinner coffee or anywhere in between. Artisan, small batch roasted to perfection. USDA certified organic, all Rivermoon coffee is freshly roasted and packaged in the USA. Just go to rivermooncoffee.com or click on the banners over on our site and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. rivermooncoffee.com.
Are you intrigued by paranormal talk radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now. The Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
This is Kristen, Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JamieChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Tonight, very special event, The Secrets of Time Travel. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, and 2.5 hours tonight of time travel. And I'm doing 5 different segments on different aspects of it. And I will come back and do a part 2. Each one of these segments tonight is a 2.5 hour show. But all of the sides of time travel need to be presented. And that's what we are doing tonight. Okay, now in this last segment, I want to talk about paradoxes. And paradoxes, like many different aspects of time travel, you get into paradoxes, and each paradox and the ideas behind it can quickly spin off into another 10, 15, 20, even an infinite amount of answers and questions. It's crazy, and it's deep. One of the things that I wanted to start off with is the latest episode of The Orville. And again, I don't want to give anything away, but the latest episode deals with the philosophical aspects of time travel. It gets very deep and very emotional. Now, the way that the science is presented here is pretty solid, and it's pretty sound, and it's also dealing with the speed of light and other aspects, and they build a time machine and things. But what would happen if okay, I'm not going to give anything away, but here's a hypothetical thing that they're dealing with. So just think about this. So you come back to Earth, and you end up spending 10 years here. And the crew is going to rescue you. And the crew spends a few hours discussing the aspects of how the rescue is going to happen. But by the time they arrive on Earth, which to them is a day later, you have now lived 10 years here on Earth. And if you live 10 years here on Earth, that means you've got 10 years of life and experiences and everything else. To the crew of the Orville, a day has passed. So think about that, and then you have to deal with that. And that's what the Orville does. And they do it really, really well. So everything that I've talked about tonight, all of it, you have the science side, then you have the philosophical side of time travel. And I've talked about it many, 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 many times on this show. And then the Orville last week does their latest episode of everything that I constantly talk about on this show. So if you haven't seen it, go and check it out. The Orville is incredible. It's one of my favorite series, and they deal with all of this in the latest episode. Okay, that being said, the grandfather paradox. Now, the grandfather paradox, if you hear any physicist speak about time travel, the first thing that they jump into is the grandfather paradox. You see it in science fiction movies, in books. It doesn't matter. The grandfather paradox is there. But many, what is it? The grandfather paradox occurs when the past is changed. That's it. It's changed in any way. But the common example, the common version of it is somebody traveling to the past and killing their grandparents or their grandfather, and which then prevents the existence of one of their parents, which means that they don't exist. So you have a loop. You have something that is created right there. How is it possible to go back and kill your grandfather? That means your parents aren't born, or one of your parents, which means you weren't conceived. And therefore, how can you travel back in time? And if you do this, do you cease to exist? So let's say you push your grandfather in front of a bus. He gets hit by the bus and dies. At that moment, do you just disappear? Right? Are you no longer there? There are aspects of this. You go back in time, you give your mother a watch. She grows up and then gives you the watch when you're a kid. But how can you have the watch if you don't travel back in time and give her the watch and on and on and on? There's any version of the grandfather paradox can play out, right? Okay. Another aspect of this, and I'll give it to you. Let's say the Russians get a time machine, right? Now, and they don't like the United States, right? What would they do? Would they go back and mess with our military? Would they go back and steal the plans for nuclear bombs so we don't have them, whatever? No, you know what you would do? You would go back 400 years ago and start sinking ships of the pilgrims coming over to the United States. That's what you would do, right? You would kill George Washington, whatever, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin. You would stop the United States from existing at its very, very beginning. That's what you would do. So these philosophical aspects to time travel are something that needs to be considered. But this isn't a modern thing. It's not. Now, once you jump into the research, I'm going to help you right now with it. You'll find out that these things have been discussed for a very, very long time. In a letter printed in the July 1927 issue of Amazing Stories, suggested that a time traveler could shoot and kill his younger self. A similar scenario is presented in Amazing Stories in their quarterly version of the magazine in the summer of 1929, when a time traveler has the opportunity to avoid the events that sent him back in time. The time traveler offers a hypothetical example in which he might have traveled to his grandfather's childhood to kill him. Right? One of these time travelers' angles in correspondence back to Amazing Stories said that they had heard that the grandfather argument, not paradox, but back then they called it the grandfather argument. They had heard about this previously. And later that year, another editorial note in Science Wonder magazine invited readers to discuss the problem of traveling back 200 years to shoot one's great-great-grandfather, and the debate about the grandfather paradox continued week after week, month after month. Everybody discussed this. It was a very, very deep subject. It was discussed way before computers, way before the nuclear age. We're talking about the 1920s and 1930s. By the early 1930s, the topic was frequently discussed in various American science fiction magazines. A 1931 Amazing Stories letter characterizes the matter as the age-old argument of preventing your birth by killing your grandparents. Early science fiction stories dealing with the paradox were published in the 1930s and 1940s, and the 1944 book Future Times 3 by Rene Barjavel touched upon the topic in great detail. It's an amazing book, and I would suggest that everyone read it. Now, what about time travelers today around us? Now, I talk about the Fermi paradox a lot. Of course, that deals with UFOs and the existence of aliens. And if there are, so many planets out there that could support alien life and do, well, then where is everybody? And Enrico Fermi posited this question over lunch and at a research laboratory in New Mexico when they were dealing with, nuclear bombs and weapons. But this was a topic that was discussed, and there was a lot of UFO sightings that were happening 1952, 1953, 1954, which caused Enrico and his other physicist buddies to sit around and talk about this subject. Where is everybody at if there's all of this life out there? That was in the early 1950s. Imagine how that conversation would change today once we have now found out that there are billions and billions of Earth-like planets right here in our own Milky Way. Well, Stephen Hawking adapted the Fermi paradox. He did. He just adapted it to time travel, and he flipped it around. And he phrased it, if time travel were possible, man, where are all the visitors from the future? Understandable. And so he did his invitation. He did his time travel party. And party is at such and such a date and would love to have you here. And nobody showed up. Now, here's my take on paradoxes. Everything that is presented, especially from a scientific mind, is getting too complex. I think it's a lot simpler than what they are suggesting. I can assure you of this. I get on a spaceship, I head out for a couple of years, approach the speed of light, I make a U-turn, and I come back to Earth, and 5,000 years has passed, and I am now here. 2 years has passed. So I leave Earth at 58. I come back at 60, but it's 5,000 years in the future. I guarantee that when I get off that ship and I say hello and I go, have you guys invented time travel yet? Oh, yeah, we did that 4,000 years ago. Do it all the time. Oh, really? Cool. So I can get back to the year 2022? You can. Cool. That's a fact. It's a fact. So why hasn't it happened? All right. There's a couple of aspects of this to understand. And this is why I think it's a lot more simple than everybody else is playing it out to be. And then there's a complex side of this, and I'll get to that in just a second. But you're not changing anything. So let's go to the grandfather paradox. What do I mean by that? I go back and kill my grandparents, right? I don't cease to exist. You're not changing the future. You're killing your grandparents in the past, but the future has already happened. The future you is going to continue living and doing your thing. You're only changing the past, but that doesn't mean that the universe is now upset. The time-space continuum, and that, you've killed the baby Hitler. Now World War II doesn't happen, and the Holocaust doesn't happen, and now you go back to the future and everything is different. No. You can't change that. You may kill your grandparents in the past, but you in the future, the you exist physically. I don't believe that changes. I don't think that you are creating additional timelines, that in this timeline I'm alive, but in that timeline I'm dead. In that timeline my grandparents are dead, but in this timeline I'm alive. And no. Now, all of that is possible. I'm not suggesting that it's not possible. And remember, in the world of physics, anything is possible and everything will eventually happen. Okay, I understand that part of it. I do. Lenny Susskind explains it very elegantly. But what I am suggesting is that if I have the ability to go back and keep the future that I just came from doesn't change. You can go back and kill somebody in the past. It's not going to change the future. You've just done something in the past. That's it. You're not upsetting the balance of the universe. Here's the other technical aspect of this. The universe, all of it, is made of a set number of particles. You can measure it. There are calculations today that you can go and read how many particles are in the universe right now, right? And if you look at your left hand and you look at your right hand, you're looking at particles from two different stars. We're all stardust. You can't change that. You can't. So if you go back in time and just appear, are you adding to the amount of particles in the universe at that time? Holy crap, right? That would change everything. You would go to the future and change the amount of particles that are in the universe? It seems like everything would blow up, right? And everything would cease to exist. That's why I just don't think it's that complicated. I don't. That if I show up in the future, if I'm somehow going from out to a planet, doing a U-turn and coming back to Earth, and then coming back to this timeline, am I here or not? If I come back to a time, if I go a little bit further in the past, would I see another version of me? Yes. Right. Is it upsetting things? I just don't think so. I don't. That's why in the Adam Project, this aspect to that, where Ryan Reynolds goes back and hangs out with a version, his younger self, and they talk. Is the universe imploding? No. That's why I think it's much more simple. I don't think that paradoxes are part of the reality of things. I just don't feel that. Why? Again, if I traveled out and made a U-turn and came back 5,000 years in the future, time travel has been invented. You can do it, and you can bounce around all day long. Therefore, somebody would have come back here. You're not upsetting anything. There isn't a paradox that is created. There isn't another timeline that is created. I don't think that is the case, even though that's what John Teeter has said. Now, here's the other part, and I believe this to be the case, that going backwards and forwards in time is not only simple and is not changing things, and going back into time is not changing things. That's why I think that the commercialization of this and going to a travel company to go on a vacation, I believe that this happens. And the reason why I think that this happens is because you are only playing the part of the observer. Right, that I think it's quite possible that why these paradoxes aren't happening is we're not seeing these changes. And I'll get to the Mandela effect before we get out of here. I'm trying to get the rest of this in. Is this, that coming back, the aspect of sleep and dreams and time travel and astral, that side of it, that is another part of time travel that I think is a real experience. So you could come back, you can observe, you can, just like going to a concert, going to the movies, you're seeing it, it's physical, it's real, but you are not seen. And you can't interact, and you can't do any of that, and you can't kill anybody. You can't change the future, no matter what. You want to change something, but you can't, because the future is already there. You cannot change it. There is not a possibility of a paradox. That's it. Well, how? No. I just feel that is the case. These questions of paradoxes and the way that physicists and other scientists bring this aspect of it up is because they want to talk their way out of the possibility of time travel. Time travel is real. It can happen and it can be done. We understand that today. There's no question about it. with science behind wormholes, going back and coming back as a younger version of you and traveling to the past, that science is sound. I remember, I'm going to leave you with this. I remember the first time I started to hear about the Mandela effect, and I started to think about how is this possible? I think that may be another aspect of time travel, right? Because there's many versions of it. I'm just giving you a couple of ideas and scenarios to play out. But the Mandela effect is something that is affecting millions, if not billions of people. And we're seeing this. Is that another aspect of time travel? That is for another show. And here's the last thing. This is the third part of this I want to leave you with. I had a very deep conversation with Richard Dolan about traveling to the past. He's okay with going to the future. Remember, the future is not happened yet, apparently. So going to the future is easy, right? You're not changing anything. You're only experiencing it. But going to the past is different. And what Richard had said to me, he said, you're telling me that if you go back in time, then everything in the universe is also going backwards in time, right? The amount of energy that would be applied there and how it would be done. No. And Richard's right. That part of it is impossible. It would take the energy of the known everything to crank back time everywhere. But with a wormhole, it's individual. You are younger. Think about that. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Got a few ideas for next Monday's presentation. It's going to be great. We're not going to do time travel next week. That'll be a couple of more months down the road. I've got a whole list of different subjects that I want to get covered and get out of my brain and out to the rest of the world for the foreseeable future. I'm really enjoying these Monday nights and going through this and just sharing what I have learned over the years. Time travel is important. I really feel that not only is it real, but there are time travelers among us right now. I just believe that to be true. As an observation, that's one aspect of it. An astral mind time travel, it's been talked about for thousands of years. A physical version of this going backwards and forwards, absolutely possible. And the math says it is so. And these aspects of it, I don't think people really want to talk about it. I don't think science wants to talk about it. I don't. They're too deep and it's too philosophical. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tomorrow night, right here on Fade to Black, Scott Walter is joining us, and we will be doing The Secret America. All of that tomorrow night. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Wednesday nights, don't forget, Kelly Sullivan Walden is joining us for The Secret of Dreams. Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palm and Renee, Dennis, and Kevin. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. And this broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2022 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be copied, rebroadcast, downloaded, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'll see everybody tomorrow night. But until then, I want you to be safe. Go Backley Tappy.